Hello, nerds! Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom comic books edition for Christmas. If you are one that celebrates, definitely, I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. I am recording these on Christmas. I enjoy doing these, so I had a pretty merry one too. This week in comic books, we are talking Brian Michael Bendis, his last days with Marvel. Unbelievable Gwenpool is getting canceled, but for whatever reason, Ghost Rider is making a return. All that, and then a few more things we're going to talk about. But first, let's hit that intro.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Okay, comic books. I feel like the biggest thing that we're going to talk about this week is Brian Michael Bendis making his transition from Marvel to DC. It was kind of unclear last time we talked about this how that transition was going to happen. Apparently both publishing houses are making it pretty easy on him. He's finished writing the stories and they are coming out for publication. He has 4 books that he's currently working on, and the publication dates for each of them are the Defenders storyline that he's writing will be done it will be done in February. It'll be book number 10. Jessica Jones, the story that he's doing for that will be done in number 18, and that comes in March. The Iron Man story that he is finishing will be finished on, crazy as it sounds, issue number 600, and that will be in May. And then Spider-Man, I didn't get the month that it will be published, but it will be Spider-Man number 240. I would assume it'll be sometime after the other 3. But yeah, those are the final books Brian Michael Bendis will be doing for Marvel for the foreseeable future, for at least the next, I think his contract with DC was like 3 or 5 years. So for that time, he's going to be exclusively writing DC, and really interested to see what he's going to bring to the table to the DC stock, because he's done some really crazy stuff for Marvel that is really quality stuff for Marvel. So definitely looking forward to that. But we are moving on. Next, we're talking about the all-new Wolverine story with Wolverine himself, Mr. Logan, a.k.a. James Howlett, a.k.a. the baddest of the bad. He will be coming back in March, but other things are happening in the world of Wolverine. If you have been keeping up with the all-new Wolverine storyline, then you know all about the clones and how X-23, Laura, whatever you want to call her, is not the only clone. There were 9 other clones, all of which have died except for the youngest one, girl that they call Gabby, Gabriella, Gabby, whatever. I really like this all of the Wolverine family. Like, just like I don't really read Spider-Man, but I really dig the Spider-Verse and how there's so many different iterations of this character. It's very interesting to me, and this is no exception. This is actually probably an exception in the good way, because I'm even more interested because I read Wolverine. But Gabby just got an official superhero name, and it's really funny. The page is her talking to the now sentient Danger Room, who calls herself Danger. And Gabby was giving her grief, and she said, is that like a Danger is my middle name kind of way? And Danger, having no sense of humor because it's an artificial intelligence, said, no, Danger is my only name. And then she got fed up for whatever reason. I mean, she's a kid, so you can give them a little bit of leeway when they're writing the dialogue and such. But Honey Badger, to kind of, because I'm bird walking. Honey Badger is Gabby's superhero name, and it's really cool. I mean, she's just got single blades that come out instead of the three like Dakin and X-23 and Logan. She only has single blades, and she's just a kid, and they're bone blades. They're not adamantium, but she has the healing factor, which means she's going to be around for a very long time, because that's why all the other clones died, is because none of them could inherit the healing factor like Laura did, except for apparently Gabby. So yeah, pretty cool. I really dig the things that they're doing with this. Even though it started in kind of a gray area, it started like they were trying to shoehorn in this diversity thing, because that's what Marvel did months ago, a year ago now, I believe, a little over a year ago even. Anyway, but it's from that like forced element, that really fake and forced and just stranglehold thing that they did. It's grown into something that makes sense, that feels a lot more organic. So I appreciate that they've done that, and I really am looking forward to the new things that come out of that story, especially once Logan comes back. How are they going to handle that with the all-new Wolverine storyline? That's going to be incredibly amazing to watch happen, and we will definitely keep our tabs on that. But, moving on. Next, we are talking Batman number 37. So 36 and 37 have kind of been laying low as far as like the action-adventure stuff goes, but it's been interesting character development, and that's what I appreciate about the difference in the storytelling vehicle of comic books versus movies and TV and such, is because it's a moving medium, movies and TV, they feel like they have to be all action all the time, and it has to just be super compelling in those kind of ways. And when you can do, I mean, Walking Dead does this, so I know that you're capable of doing it on television, but a lot of people don't, especially when it comes to comic book based properties. They don't do just these random character building segments, and that's what the last two issues of Batman have been. Batman 36 and 37 have both been character building, as far as the relationship between Batman or Bruce and Selina, and Clark and Lois, specifically those two couples and their interdynamics between them, and it's really cool to watch. In 37, the one that just came out, they go on a double date, and that's the issue. And it's like there's tension because the character of Bruce and Clark, or Batman and Superman, they just are opposite sides of the same coin. So there's tension because they deal with similar issues in very different ways. For the same purpose, though, and I think that's why it's an interesting dynamic to watch. And it's not even like villains that they're fighting. It's just these interpersonal relationships that are motivating this story right now, and it's definitely worth a read. So if you haven't been keeping up with Batman, definitely you should start. And this has nothing to do with Dark Knight's Metal. This is happening at a different time than the Metal storyline and the Batman Lost storyline and all of the things. But yeah, so check out the current story in Batman 36 and 37. Moving along, we have some super crazy developments for Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange in issue number 383. Doctor Strange, and spoiler alerts if you are reading Strange, fast forward about 3 minutes. Yeah. Doctor Strange becomes the god of magic. So he no longer is the... Oh, I just lost my notes. Okay, there we go. He no longer is the Sorcerer Supreme. He lost that title. He lost his cape. And then he went to Asgard and talked to, and I'm going to butcher this name, Yggdrasil, the Tree of Life. And the Tree of Life opened up his third eye and blessed him with the powers of, and is now the god of magic. So that's insane. How is that going to affect him going forward? That's going to be the cool thing to watch. And at the end of the issue, he's talking about how now he's going to go get his cape back, which maybe he's going to try and be the Sorcerer Supreme again. I don't know, but it'll be a lot of fun to watch. Moving along. Unbelievable Gwenpool. I don't know how popular this was. I read, and I didn't buy. I just read while I was picking up my pull list, because usually my pull list is like this. But I read like the first 3 or 4 issues of this story arc, and it's going to be up to 23, I think, this month, and then 24 in January, and 25 in February, and 25 is going to be the last issue of this story. I don't know if that's going to be the last issue of the series altogether. I know they're not picking it back up immediately, so there is going to be a gap. If they do start doing more Gwenpool stories, it'll be much further down the road. But yeah, it's ending on issue number 25, which will come out in February. I feel like the reason they're ending it is because it must not be getting the same kind of readership as their prime books like X-Men and Deadpool and so on and so forth, which kind of is probably backlash from their crazy diversity push. They're crazy, oh, by the way, every superhero you know is now different, is now somebody else, is now a female, is now different, somebody of a different skin color. Not that it was bad, but their motivation and their execution of this idea was poorly handled, and it is now showing in their sales. DC is creeping back up on them as far as sales go. Marvel still outsells DC overall, but they're closing the gap fast. The last 2 months, we talked about numbers in the last video. In the last 2 months, they have closed the gap significantly. So I don't even think Gwenpool was a bad character necessarily. I just feel like her execution again was mediocre at best. They're trying to A, turn Deadpool into a woman, and B, trying to make that woman like kind of sexy because she wears her suit has no pants, and it's like, whatever. I don't understand their motivation, why they chose to go in the direction they did. With the little bit of Gwenpool I read wasn't horrible, but again, it was mediocre at best. So I don't think anyone's going to lose any sleep over the fact that they're canceling this story. If you guys read Gwenpool, definitely, is it worth picking back up, or should I just let it go by the wayside? Let's talk about that down low in those comments. Next and final is the last bit that we teased in the intro, is the return of Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider. Writer Christopher Sabella told Twitter this past Tuesday that he's going to be writing a new Ghost Rider book that is going to be called Damnation, Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider #1. Ghost Rider's a difficult one. I've read some Ghost Rider in the past. He's like the Punisher. You can't write, or even Spawn. You can't write a believable villain for him because they're so, in the case of Punisher, so ruthless. But in case of Ghost Rider and Spawn, it's kind of an overpowered situation. There's no, not that I've seen anyway, and if there's something out there that I'm missing, then definitely let me know in the comments. But you can't write a believable villain for them. That's why the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movies just crap. I mean, that and Nicolas Cage is such a wonderful actor. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they can pull this off in a way that makes Ghost Rider a viable property again. Because really, I don't think he was past the first run that he did back in like the 70s. So if you believe otherwise, definitely try and convince me of your arguments. But I can't see it. That does, though, bring us all the way to the end of your comic books section this week in Weekend Nerdom. Thank you very, very much for watching all the way to the end, guys. I appreciate it. The website is www.generallynerdy.net. The Patreon, if you want to help me keep this going, keep making quality content for you guys. Patreon.com/generallynerdy. You can get on board for just $1 a month. And at the website, you can find all of my social media links and some blog stuff that I've written. I wrote a piece a few months ago about Comic-Con and the real reason why San Diego and New York are more important than basically every other Comic-Con in the country. And I'm working on a music piece right now for Christmas music. But that being said, thank you guys again for watching all the way to the end. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button down below and even the little bell so that you get reminded whenever I post alerted whenever I post a new video. It's a new feature YouTube's doing. It's about 2 months old at this point. But it alerts you whenever people post new videos. So definitely click that if you subscribe. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't like the video, hit the thumbs down button. But let's have a conversation. Definitely let me know what you thought about any of these stories in the comment section down below as well. And please always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.